But let's do this. We move on to our very next conversation, and it has to do with myriad matters that are taking place. We have some parliamentarians joining us for this discussion. Member of Parliament for Tamale Central, Murtala Muhammad, joins us. He is also a member of the Public Accounts Committee, Trade, Industry and Tourism Committee. We also have Fusaini Issa, former Member of Parliament for Okaikwe North. Gentlemen, a very good morning to you. Thank you for joining the conversation.
Yeah, good morning, and thank you for having us. And
I would have you briefly speak up. I see you are in your very, on your very best behavior. You're sounding all way this morning. I just want you to speak up. But I'll take you on, Honorable Murtala. You started with some patois right before we came on air, and I'm not alleging. He says that in Ghana, maybe it's only Stonebwoy and Black Rasta.
Oh, there are several people.
You depend, huh? You depend.
Me depend. I mean, patois lingua and my lingua for all black people.
Right.
What did he just say?
He said patois lingua is patois is his language, so to speak.
Black people, for real.
Right.
So
give us a little skit in patois just to kick off.
Doesn't mean that you don't have to be dread to be Rasta.
Dreadlocks, Rastaness, Diapang Mizagawadan. I got a dreadlocks. I not take a hula hem. I not take a wisdom with Buddha man a Rasta. So all of black people, them are Rasta. You understand?
Right. He's saying that you don't need locks to be Rasta. He doesn't smoke weed. He doesn't do other things, but he is Rasta.
Real Rastaness Diapang Mizagawadan.
Right.
You understand?
So at least you should give me my props because me too, Charlie, and above the things small. So, hey, okay, so Murtala Muhammad there, member of Parliament for Tamale Central.
To tell you the truth, I mean, patois was not a language in existence. Several Africans were taken from Africa, several parts of Africa, to the diaspora, to the Americas, to the United Kingdoms, and some literally to France. They belong to different ethnic groups, they spoke different languages. So when they sent to the diaspora, they were ripped off of their original language. The only language that was introduced to them was English. And the English language was not the language of their mother tongue. So they were forced to communicate with each other.
Right.
Imagine a Frafra man or a Dagomba man with an Asante man, or let's even say with a Bambara from somewhere, or a Fulani from Guinea, sent to America. They didn't understand each other's language. So English was introduced. So there was a means to have their own way of communicating.
It became a lingua franca, a sort of Creole.
They attempted to destroy the English language to form a language.
Right.
So where they will say me, they will say I. That's why they say I and I. Where do you say what is happening? Why are going? Or what are going? Where are you going? Why are going? So you realize that they don't say down, press, or press. So you need, there's a book called IRIC. So you don't necessarily need to wear dreadlocks or to smoke Indian hemp or to be this. Once you are a Pan-Africanist, you must make the effort to learn the language. There are two different kinds of patois. You got a Babylon Mandem patois, and you got a rude Mandem patois.
Okay.
So the Babylon,
so a very quick one as we wrap up on this. Babylon patois and then rude man patois.
Which are the rude Mandem patois lingua, you understand?
Okay.
For real.
Okay. So we're getting patois lessons as part of our discussion this morning. This is going to be interesting. This is going to be very interesting.
Let him do
for you, what do you speak?
Yoga.
All right, gentlemen. So thank you once more for joining the conversation. This wasn't tabled. I mean, it wasn't planned what we're going to start with. But because of the discussion we're having right before going on, I'm going to put this to you. There's that situation about a student at Wesley Girls High School who supposedly, allegedly, has been prevented from fasting. And we're talking about the situation. What is your take on the matter? I'll start with you.
I'm thinking a good morning to your viewers. And then good morning to the good people of Okaikwe North. It's a very quite dicey situation. I didn't get to know of it till I got inside here this morning. But I think that institutions and schools have found a way to work around this whole thing. When you have students, especially in the month of Ramadan, which is a holy month which Muslims hold very, very dear. And it's so crucial to our very practice of our very religion. schools have found way around it. And so for me to hear that a school is preventing a student from fasting, I think it's way beyond it's not anything I could agree. I was in a Christian school for 7 years, and we always found ways to work around it that suited the school and suited us also Muslim students, and it never came up for with any sort of acrimony or anything. So I think that this matter should be addressed, and it should be addressed quite swiftly.
The question is the how. The question is the how it ought to be addressed. There have been allegations that supposedly sometimes Muslims are not allowed to, practice fully in the school. But of course, these are, mind you, allegations. And we also need to know exactly what the headmistress has been saying on some of these matters. But as it stands now, from what we know,
I just hope that they remain allegations, because it's not. I don't think it's calling upon the school to commit any extra resources to facilitate them fasting. No, what we did whilst I was in boarding school in Presec was that even the pantry or the matron, we had some arrangements so that our food was made, and that's all it takes. It doesn't take a lot for you to allow the students. They will partake in school activities as normal. So I am really finding it difficult to accept the situation going on in a very prestigious school like Wesley Girls. I think that the matter should be dealt with and done with quite swiftly. We shouldn't allow some of these things to cause issues in our national life, like
if this turns out to be true, we had Achimota in a dreadlock situation that has been quashed.
Sorry, the court is dealing with that. You see, the situation in Achimota had nothing to do with religion. It had nothing to do.
No, I just brought that up because that's another prominent school that has been in the
yes, but I just want to make the point that it has nothing to do with religion.
Point well made. But here we are with another big school in the news, and this time it's about religion. Your take. And if it turns out to be true, what do we do?
Well, let me say good morning to your cherished viewers. Of course, yourself and my brother, and of course the good people of Tamale Central, and use this opportunity to wish all Muslims Ramadan Kareem. We are in the month of Ramadan. We are virtually getting to the end of that month. It is not an allegation. This is a fact. And
it's not an allegation.
It's not an allegation.
You say it's a fact.
It's a fact, yes. Your station carried the story. The extent to which the parent drove to the school, and I guess that the journalist interviewed him and interviewed the student. I think this intolerance must stop. This is a secular state, and we are dealing with a public institution. Of course, the genesis of that institution was not a public, it was a Christian missionary school, which is now a public institution. I had the privileged opportunity to have taught at least 1 year at Ghana Lebanon Islamic Secondary School, and I remember vividly that we used to have Fridays, Islamic preachings. At a point, the head of the institution was, I guess, an Algerian at that time. They wanted to insist that those who were non-Muslims should also participate. And I stood against that, and I challenged that decision that they didn't need to force Christians to participate in that. And they had to listen, because you can't force anybody.
Has that changed since you left?
Yes, it has. In fact, actually, when I insisted, they had to call. And there were other tutors in the school who supported the position I took. So I have a history of fighting against that. Why? In Islam, fasting is one of the most important pillars of Islam. There are categories of people who are supposed to fast, and it's compulsory that if you are not, in fact, those who are exempted from fasting is a woman who is pregnant, and if she fasts, it would affect the baby, because you need to diet well and eat very well. A nursing mother, if you know that fasting can affect the production of milk, a very old person who fasting can affect his or her life, and someone who is terminally ill. And those people under that circumstance, the terminally ill person or old person, would have to find someone to be feeding. This is how important that fasting is. The pregnant woman who is not fasting in that month of Ramadan, after she delivers and finish, breastfeeding the baby, it's compulsory for her to pay that 30 or 29 days. So it is.
Is it zakat or is it?
No, not zakat. Not zakat. If
It's different.
If a pregnant woman is pregnant, she's exempted from fasting at the time, because if she fasts, it can affect the unborn baby. But after she delivers, and finish breastfeeding the baby, she has to fast. A nursing mother is supposed not to fast, because if she fasts, it can affect the production of milk. Okay, if you have a nursing mother who have the kids on this NAN 1 or NAN, the SMEs, that person can fast because it wouldn't affect the production of milk. Even with that, after the breastfeeding of the baby, she has to pay that. It tells
how does this affect?
It tells you how important.
Right.
In fact, it's not only necessary; it's essential as a Muslim. So if you have a child who is up to the age of 16, 17 years,
right,
it is incumbent, it is compulsory in fulfillment of the religious obligation as a Muslim. He or she has to fast. Now, if you deny such a person from fasting, you are virtually denying her from observing the 5 daily prayer. Because in terms of those pillars, they are equally important. So that is why I'm saying there can't be any excuse. Look, that child, if you listen to the parent who was interviewed by your station, the father said that the daughter has been fasting since the year of when she was 8 years. So why would they prevent the girl from? And if you observe the interview the girl had, she was actually crying that she's been denied of practicing this. I think that the headmistress of that institution should be brought to order. This intolerant level must not be accepted. Look, this country has been very peaceful. Most of us attended mission schools. And I remember when I was attending Methodist, we went to read the hymn. We were not forced to go to the church, but we loved and enjoyed going to the church to read the hymn. When I went to teacher training college, we did all those things, even in the secondary school. People must not be denied those opportunities. And in an attempt to justify that unacceptable behavior by the headmistress and the management of the school, they said it is not only Muslims, even Christians we have entreated that they shouldn't. Christians are not, the fasting is not compulsory. You can do it as a religious obligation. But Muslims, it is compulsory that you engage in fasting. So if you deny anybody of fasting, you are denying that person of fulfilling the religious obligation, which is incumbent on him or her as a Muslim.
So very important points you've raised, and I'll just add this little bit that you mentioned the bit about joining the Christians for some religious practice. I think part of why we enjoy the sort of harmony.
Yes.
We have Christian-Muslim harmony. You would see the Sheikh was at his 100th birthday going to Christ the King with Father Campbell and all of that. It's partly because of some of these things. And so when we commingle or intermingle like that, then the barriers, whatever they are, fall. And then you realize that we are one people. I think that's something that we ought to
Especially the boarding school system where they didn't.
And I guess all of us were there. I was in Bishop Herman.
You see.